This is an exciting jam. Really makes you want to get up and get moving. Alright, I'll turn this off before people get put to sleep. There we go. So how many people have been inundated with 1,000 videos on the Nano Cortex? I feel like I'm going backwards with all that modeling stuff. It's like I don't even want to fool around with learning it. If I was a gigging guy and had to carry whatever I'm using, I'm sure it'd be different. But man, feeling a little crossed up today. I felt all right when I practiced this morning. I am playing a Les Paul, which is different. Yeah, so I looked at the Nano Cortex. Of course, Quad Cortex is pretty cool. It's got 1,000,000 foot switches. You could have all your presets right there. But it costs as much as a really nice tube amp. That's tough. The Nano has 2 switches, no screen. And I know there would be a way for me to use those 2 switches to cycle through patches or whatever. But I don't know. Just seemed like a lot to have to learn. Oh, thanks, Terry. I was just saying I got the old Les Paul out, and I'm used to playing with the I'm a Strat player most of the time. So I'm going to blame all my clams on playing a shorter scale, even though it's really has nothing to do with it. Trying to think of anything else exciting gear wise I saw. Seems like guitar companies are kind of rolling out their latest and greatest models of, if it's Fender, it's going to be some different colors with a few different odds and bits and changes. There's so many doggone pedals these days, man. I can't even keep track. I can't even tell you what's the latest and greatest. Everybody's got a Klon. Some kind of slightly modified. I've never used one. I guess that's the. Oh, thanks, man. It's a 2005 standard, uh, and it's not a case queen. It's it's definitely not something you can. It's a player. It's got a real nice natural little bit of wear on the finish of the neck, and I did put just the classic Duncan JB Jazz set in it. It came with the, I want to say they were Custom Bucker 2s or Custom Bucker Pros or something like that. They were real PAF kind of low output, which that's fine. That's not going to bother me, but they were voiced a little, I don't know, brittle almost for my taste. So I was like, you know what? The JB and the Jazz, they're a known commodity. You may be able to get some boutique-y thing but if you get something tried and true, it's going to sound good. And I've always liked a JB and a Les Paul myself, but definitely got to use the tone knob, because it can be a little unruly. It's my problem. My solo tone I want thick, so the low end is going to be too thick for rhythmy stuff. And the Gibson rears its ugly head. Yeah, you get some thick dirt going and roll the tone knob back, and you're in cream territory. Once you hear that as a kid, you can't unhear it, and you always want it. I was thinking there was something else that got released this week, but I can't even remember. It's been a busy week. Let's see. What did I say it was? I know Mythos came out with their Tube Screamer, which I like Mythos. But I'm surprised they didn't already have some kind of Tube Screamer variant out, but it sounded good. Man, Eric Clapton and Eric Johnson, you are at the right place. You're going to make me get my tube driver out, aren't you? The E string. Not acting right. Yeah, man, Eric Johnson was a huge, still is. And you know the funny thing I've read in articles that Eric Johnson said his tone came as a result of him kind of trying to do Clapton. Of course, he's got the tube driver into the Marshall and all that, and doing the pentatonics in a awesome way that you know, has influenced anybody who does pentatonics now. But I almost think of Eric Johnson's tone if you think of it like he was approaching it. Hey, what's up, roadie man? How's it going? I'm doing good. We're talking about Eric Johnson. But it's almost like that violin tone is a caricature, like bigger in every way than the Clapton woman tone. Oh, I appreciate it, man. It's funny you mentioned that, the pick attack thing. I have a video where I'm just kind of talking about trying to get a little Eric Johnson sound to your sound. And I think that's one of the most missed parts of people trying to do Eric Johnson is that subdued pick attack. Because, you know, to get the violin tone. It's almost like you don't hear his pick attack. And you can hear guys that are much better players than me. They're playing Eric Johnson songs note for note. And they kind of got the tone, but their pick attack is too strong and it just sounds totally different. It's one of the things that makes his playing sound like it does. Is that lack of pick attack. And I played with a pick for the first 20 years. And, you know, when I was a kid, I played metal and stuff like that. And anyway, I got so tired of what I was doing with a pick. I just felt like I was an alternate picker, and I felt like every time I'd alternate pick, I was rehashing the same lick I'd been playing since I was 14 years old. And I knew either I was going to have to relearn how to pick, or instead of unlearning what I was doing and then relearning it, I already played with my fingers some, so I just threw it away. As far as reverb and delay, yeah, I do. I'm weird. Like I like a kind of a always on delay, which is what you're hearing now. I'm one of those guys that kind of uses that background delay as a reverb. And that's usually, kind of my home base, right? So and I usually use reverb as kind of an effect, like an ambient effect. I don't use it much as a base of my tone. So let's see. It would help if I turned it on. That's a pretty good bit of reverb. And I would use that. When, I'm wanting to do a dreamier thing. But I'm not going to have that on, just most of the time. Usually I just have that. And if I want to launch into a full EJ lead tone, I have a second delay I'll turn on that sounds like this. Oh, thanks, man. If I can sound like Gilmore on Division Bell, I'll never leave the house. That's not that much more. I'm kind of doing like the Timmons Halo thing where I got one delay time different, but Gilmore is another user of the great tube driver. That's a good tune. What's it? He using one of those Pete Cornish Big Muff variants on that one, or is he using the tube driver? I can't remember. Terry, my understanding, like, when I got a tube driver, it's probably 10 or 12 years ago, I actually contacted BK Butler and emailed with him, got what I wanted. And I think at one time, Chandler, and I don't know if it was Chandler and BK Butler had kind of a merger or what, but there was a time that they did make the same products. And I'm not 100% sure that what the differences are. But when it came time for me to get one, I didn't take any chances. And that they were making I think Chandler made some other stuff, some studio gear. But yeah, you see that stuff kicking around. I see the same thing. I'm like, so that's a Chandler. It'll be like a Chandler reel tube or something like that. And is it designed by BK Butler? And maybe I'm not 100% sure. Y'all are making me want to switch guitars. Let's see if I can do this without blowing your eardrums out. There we go. See, this is good streaming right here. Make a guitar change in the middle of the stream for no apparent reason. This is my number one. I'll show you something cool. Alright, here's the funny thing. I'm not using my tube driver right now. I think I need to hook it up so we can, that would be fun. Let's listen to the difference, because obviously the dirt pedals I'm using, I've kind of got them dialed in to mimic that tone, right? But yeah, I can hook it up at the beginning of the chain. But I bought just recently the Boss Terra Echo pedal, and yeah, I can't deny the Jeff Beck influence. It's kind of funny. I listened to a lot of Jeff Beck. I actually, my dad had all of it on vinyl, but I bought Blow by Blow on CD. And really, that's not one of his more, tremolo Jeff Beck that we know now. Heavy albums. He's got a lot of real cool tones on there, using the Color Sound Power Boost and like a green ringer and stuff like that. So I listened to a lot of Jeff Beck, and I think really where I got hooked on the trim were from two guys, Scott Henderson and Jimmy Herring, which Scott does more of a kind of wigged out Jeff Beck. And Jimmy Herring, he's the one that is the lead guitar player for Widespread Panic right now, but great player and has been around forever. But he would use a trim like and sound like a mock slide. And those two, Scott Henderson and Jimmy Herring, made me start doing the tremolo stuff. But they were both influenced by Jeff Beck. So I listened to a lot of Jeff Beck, and secondhand got all that from Jeff Beck through them. But you see a guy playing a Strat with his fingers that's using a trim, it's hard not to say, hey, he's kind of doing or trying to do a Jeff Beck thing. Which, if I could do Jeff Beck, I'd never leave the house once again. But when we were talking about all the reverb and echo, so, and I've got a couple delays, and it took me forever to land on the reverb I use. And it's the Pigtronics Cosmosis. It's not that, it's like $250, which compared to some of that Strymon stuff, you know, it's not that expensive. But it's real versatile. If you want to do that really wet thing, it'll definitely do that. And then if you kind of want to just do the, have to get a little cleaner here. It's not exactly a subtle reverb, but not as crazy as the other one. But anyway, I landed on that reverb pedal after going through a bunch of them. Well, then I kept hearing guys getting really cool ambient tones on YouTube, and I would message them and be like, hey man, what are you using? Expecting some long chain of this reverb, this delay, this modulation. And a couple times they're like, it's just the Boss Terra echo, that's all you're hearing. I was like, what? Because when that pedal first came out, the demos of it, I just didn't get it. You know, it just kind of sounded like a really odd delay pedal. And I don't know if it was the way they were dialing it in or what. But so now it's been out for, I don't know what, 4 years or something. But it's like a one-stop shop. That's the Terra Echo. Let me get a super glassy tone. So that's $100 and something Boss pedal that is really not super hard to I appreciate it, man. I do try to go for EJ, and sometimes I'm kind of get closer, sometimes not, but that really that's a beautiful compliment to hear any EJ in my playing. But yeah, if I was to tell somebody that didn't really have a bunch of pedals that were in that kind of ambient zone, get the Terra Echo. Yeah, it really it sounds good with dirt too. Wait, there's more. Shoot, that's a lot of ambience coming from one pedal. One Boss pedal. Gotta love it. Gotta love the classics. But you know what? Since we're talking about the tube driver, I think this is a very good opportunity to compare the tube driver with other crap I'm trying to use to sound like the tube driver. So I'm going to plug it up real quick. It's not going to take long. Tube driver, power supply, it's got its quirks. I'm not running mine quite like EJ. He turns both these knobs, the high and low, all the way down. I've got the high all the way down. Apparently I pushed the lows up less than half. Let's see where that puts us. Did you hear the background noise? Yeah. So I'll give you my whole signal chain. And this was before I brought the tube driver in. And actually, I'll tell it to you verbally now, and after the stream ends, I'll put each pedal in the I'll make a comment that just gives you an idea and tells you what all I'm using. But so I have my stuff broken up into two boards. All my kind of delays, reverb modulations on one board, and that's because sometimes I use a rig with an effects loop. I'm not using that right now. I'm using my computer convenience rig. But anyway, so I have first in the chain is a vibe pedal. It's the BBE Soul Vibe. Another great bang for your buck pedal. It's not a it's one of those pedals that guys that thumb their noses up that have, you know, the kind of vintage correct vibes. But it does the vibe thing to me, you know. My dad had all the Hendrix and Trower records. So that's it's a BBE Soul Vibe. I think I looked, I saw them for $50 used. I don't even know if they make them anymore, but cheap, but not cheap as in piece of crap. It's BBE pedals are well built. They're just kind of under the radar. And one of the newest additions is the fuzz I'm using. It's the Fjord Odin fuzz, which I haven't tried playing it with the tube driver in front of it, but we can still see how it sounds. It's got another side. It's got two circuits in it. The other one is an octave fuzz. So that's that. That's the Fjord Odin Fuzz version 3. All right, and one of my main dirt pedals I use kind of as a it's kind of puts a sonic stamp on everything. It's the Carolyn Effects Wave Cannon 1. There's a Wave Cannon 2 that's a different circuit, but the Wave Cannon 1 is really just a rat that is tuned to really sound exactly like I would want. So that's this pedal by itself. Let's see. What I like about the Carolyn Effects Wave Cannon V1 is even on a rat with the filter knob turned up all the way to the bassy side, there's still a little bit of high frequency. And the Carolyn really is dialed in well for a kind of a thick, liquidy tone. And it responds well to the volume knob, so you know, if you're wanting to do some just crunchy stuff. Just really, really great pedal. And the second pedal, which is giving me my fake tube driver tone, is they're made by Maxon and they're made by Ibanez, but it's the SD9 Sonic Distortion. Scott Henderson used it for a long time. Michael Landau used it for a long time. It's a dirt pedal. I appreciate it, man. I've probably spent way too long turning knobs on these things, and when I should have been practicing. But it means a lot to hear another guy that likes the sounds. But the SD9 is kind of like a secret weapon, but the only way it sounds good is with the tone knob turned all the way down to the bassy side. And if you can inch it up a little bit, but if you get much past 9 o'clock with a SD9, it starts to get kind of crappy sounding. Both Henderson and Landau have come out with their own boutique versions of it. Henderson's is, I can't remember the name of it. Landau's is the Butter Machine, but they're both based on SD9. So kind of what I do is, like, I can have that Carolyn Effects Wave Cannon on, and you know, kind of being my clean with a little hair. Which, unless I'm doing something very specific clean, like trying to do that real glassy tone, this is kind of where my clean tone's gonna be. But then I will add the SD9 into the wave cannon. And I don't have that much distortion dialed in on the SD9. I'm using it to push the wave cannon a little bit and to really impart its EQ to get that. Get that thickness. Hey man, from Norway. I was just talking about a pedal from Norway. I was just talking about the Fjord Fuzz that's made in Norway. So that is the SD9 into the wave cannon. Which, that's kind of what we were fooling around with for my fake tube driver tone. The only other dirt pedal I have a OCD, a full tone OCD at the end, and I'll kind of use that as a to mock a crunchy Marshall amp. Yeah, it's Fjord Fuzz's Odin V3. I'm really loving that pedal. And I actually will, so that's the OCD by itself. It's really mimicking a crunchy amp because I'm playing into a clean kind of pedal platform deal. So I'll hit that with the Odin Fuzz. That's side one. Side two, the octave. Such a cool pedal. So that's the Odin by Fjord Fuzz into the OCD. Yeah, definitely check them out. They've got really, or I think it's one guy, and he's in Norway. And what I like about what he does, he makes pedals that are, they definitely have some throwback to your kind of vintage fuzz face and stuff like that, but he's also does original things with them. Like, for instance, that fuzz, this guitar has a Clapton mid-boost circuit, so it's active, and normally I wouldn't be able to play this into a fuzz face without it sounding like, you know, a fuzz face with a buffer. It kind of gets that nasty sound going. And it's still super responsive to the volume knob, so turn the octave part off. I mean, that for a That's with my volume turned down a little bit for a crunchy sound, and that's where the vibe would come in, right? Anyway, sorry, I'm skipping back and forth so much. I'm probably making this very hard to keep track of and understand. Like I said, I'll definitely list my signal chain. I'll list it in the comments after the stream goes up. Yeah, man. Bridge of Sighs. I remember waking up when I was a kid and my dad had a nice stereo. We didn't have much, but the man had a nice stereo. And he had Bridge of Sighs just cranking, and he was singing, "The sun don't shine." And I heard what sounded like God to me with Trower playing with his vibe, and, you know, definitely made an impression on a young me. All right, so that's all the dirt. I put the vibe before the dirt. So you got the BB Soul Vibe, the Odin V3 Fuzz, which that is a new addition. But staples, they've been on my board a long time. The SD9, you can get a Maxon one, you can get an Ibanez one. The one I'm using is an Ibanez because it's a SD9M, which they put some mods on it, which I don't use the mods that are on the switches, but they added more output to it. That's why I like that Ibanez version of the SD9. And then the Carolyn Wave Cannon, which most of my tone is going to be the SD9 and the Wave Cannon used in tandem together. And then I've got the OCD when I want to just mimic kind of a crunchy Marshall amp. So that's the dirt. And then if I were to use an effects loop, my second board would go in the effects loop. Or if I'm using a clean platform like I'm doing now, I just put board 1 straight into board 2, and it works perfect. But I do have a chorus. This is if I can turn it on. This is a Digitech hardwire chorus. Sorry, still had the vibe on. It's just a really versatile chorus. It's got a lot of modes. Hey man, I totally get needing to sleep. I try to stream once a week. Right now it's been on Sundays because of my work schedule. May move it back to Saturdays eventually, but I try. My goal is to always stream once a week on the weekends. So, and sometimes I hit the goal, sometimes I don't. But thanks for stopping by, and definitely would love to have you stop by and shoot the breeze about gear in the future. But definitely understand that God knows what time it is on your side of the world. But yeah, I have that chorus, and I don't use chorus a lot, but you know I had it, so that And then next I have the Boss Terra Echo I was talking about, which is fairly new also. For years in that spot, I used the Zoom CDR, which is a great pedal. That's the Terra Echo. The Zoom, you could dial, it's kind of a Swiss Army knife, but it's been replaced by the Terra Echo, and that goes into my main delay, which is a Ibanez Sound Tank pedal. It's a EM5 Echo Machine, and that's kind of a crazy, one of those crazy guitar player things. So those little Sound Tank pedals, you couldn't give them away when I was a teenager. They're plastic. They're like Ibanez's poverty pedals. You know, they had a tube screamer, they had a delay, a reverb, a flanger. And I got that for like, you know, they were trying to clear them out for like $20. And, you know, to me, it was a okay sounding delay. It did what a delay was supposed to do. Well, for whatever reason, apparently it's a very unique circuit, and those Echo Machine EM5 pedals go for a stupid amount of money now. And I just happen to be lucky that I've had one and used it for a long time. I wouldn't pay what they're paying now. And the switch sucks. Very unreliable switch. But I keep it on all the time, so it's not a big deal. So yeah, chorus, Terra Echo, into the Echo Machine, Ibanez EM5. Then I go into the Pigtronics Cosmosis. And then I have my fake John Scofield, fake Leslie chorus, which it's just a MXR micro chorus. It's got one knob, but it lets me do stuff like see, it'll sound better with a little dirt. So it's just kind of a fake rotary Leslie type thing. And then at the very end, I've got a pedal. It's a delay pedal I've had for a long time. The company I don't think exists anymore, but it's Bomes, Bomes, ape, like a monkey, a big monkey ape delay. It's a digital delay, but it has different filter settings, which are really kind of mimic. It's supposed to sound like analog delay, and it does it pretty well. But it has two delay volume settings that are foot switchable, which is why I like it. So that's obviously the super loud one. but you can hear the delay artifact. It's very analog-y sounding. But I usually, when I use it, I have it on a much lower setting, and it's just adds another layer of delay that's timed a little bit differently than my always on delay. And it has a little bit of modulation. It has a adjustable modulation, has tap tempo, so you know it can cover a lot of ground you may need from a delay. Alright, so now let's do a comparison, an on-the-fly shootout. This is going to be the SD9 through the Wave Cannon, which is what I was using earlier. Alright, my fake tube driver-ish tone. Now we're going to do the tube driver. You can't fake that. You know what? I got my other pedals dialed in, definitely in the ballpark, but the little bit of extra fuzziness, compression that you get from the tube driver, that's yeah, that's a good way to put it. That's the dessert delay. That's the tube driver. It does the tube driver thing. It does what it does. It's noisy. You have to plug it in with a plug that's its own power supply. But by God, it's worth it. Let's do ambient tube driver. The little known thing about the tube driver, I've gotten all kind of jacked up here, is it still responds very well to the volume knob. So never know that was a tube driver. So if I had a sparse pedal board, man, I appreciate it. You know, I grew up playing the SG. I still have it. That was, my dad played guitar, and he had a SG, and it became my SG when I started playing guitar. But really, the key is on your bridge pickup on a Strat. For whatever reason, a lot of Strats don't have the bridge pickup wired to a tone pot. Now some of the models they do, but you know, if I think so, if you just go get a Mexican Strat, the bridge pickup doesn't have a tone pot on it, or last I checked. But it's a very easy mod to do. You just wire one lug on the 5-way switch, but having the tone pot on the bridge pickup of a Strat is a game changer. I can't, like, this is tone knob all the way open. I mean, that ain't it, man. You know, it just ain't. But you roll the tone back. And really what you're doing is you're keeping the attack of the bridge pickup there and rolling off those high frequencies to give you that thickness, and you find the balance of the perfect amount of attack with the amount of thickness you want. And you know, like we were talking about earlier, the picking technique is going to come into play there too. So that's the tube driver. We'll go one more time with my other two dirt pedals. Voice very similarly, but they definitely don't have that kind of just real cool deal that the tube driver gives you. It's missing it. You know, these are better for kind of fusiony tones. Not better, but quite do what the tube driver does. So there we go. But yeah, man, I appreciate you stopping in and talking gear with me. That's just more fun than grown men should be able to have on a Sunday night. And that's really all I try to do is get on here and BS about gear or whatever I'm trying to work on with my playing on my musical journey, if you will, and then tell jokes about me not playing well when I suck. Logic's giving me a funny message. But yeah, man. If you're interested, I do have a video that I did probably a couple weeks ago, so you could hear it too. Yeah. I mean, you know, putting them together in a shootout like that, you can really hear, even though I've done everything I could to make it similar, it is not the tube drivers. Let's turn the tube driver back on as we get to the end. And really, I can use the tube driver for the fusiony stuff too. Man, BK Butler makes a great pedal. But what I was going to tell you, I do have a video that's probably I did, I don't know, a few weeks ago that talks about a lot of the same things we've been talking about tone-wise, the attack of the pick, the bridge pickup, tone knob going down, and I'm specifically using a tube driver in that and doing the few Eric Johnson-ish things that I throw in my playing to get in the ballpark, you know. I say it in the video, I say it now. I'm not Eric Johnson, never going to be. But I love Eric Johnson, and if I can get any element of what he does to come through my playing, then I'm a happy man. But it's got some all those tips and tricks and a couple things you can do with pentatonics that get you in that get you down that road. So, you know, if you want to dive it a little bit deeper, check it out. But really, I appreciate you and everybody else coming in and having a guitar vacation with me. That's what it's about for me. I'm a guy playing in his bedroom that I don't have time to be in a band. I joke around that I'm a fake guitar player because nobody ever sees me play guitar. I do it in the bedroom by myself. But it's the joy of playing, man. And that is one of the gifts God has given me to really enjoy guitar and have that as an outlet to not necessarily escape from life and being an adult and all that, but just have a little break, a little vacation, a guitar vacation. So yeah, thank you, Terry, for hanging in there with me. I don't know if Rhodey's still in there. But anytime I stream, definitely stop by, and I love doing what we've done today and just enjoy talking about guitar and gear and trying to do some of the stuff that we can to sound like the players we love and admire. And that's just fun. So that's what the whole guitar vacation thing is to me, and I hope all of you were able to get that little bit of fun guitar enjoyment, even if we gotta get back to the grind, go to sleep, and get back to it Monday. Hey man, like Jimi Hendrix said, I still got my guitar. And that has always been a powerful line to me from Red House. So as long as I still got my guitar, I can still come home and have some enjoyment just for me. And if I can share that with others, that's even more of a blessing. So, all right, my man. Thanks again for stopping by, and I try to stream every weekend. Some days or weeks I get it, some I don't, but stop by anytime. And if you ever want to BS in the comments, any of the videos I make, feel free, man. We got some pretty interesting discussions on some of them. So, all right, happy guitar vacation to you, and until we meet again, you enjoy your guitar vacation. We'll holler at you later.